While conducting research on female nature, I came across a topic that is rarely discussed: the avoiders, or those who avoid the carousal. This group consists solely of 20-something women who avoid the carousal in relationships. Since women's market value and fertility peak during that time, it makes no sense. Therefore, an above-average girl can also land. Most of these women will say that they only had one boyfriend, or that they didn't date at all when they were younger because they were too busy or focused on their careers. Men need to be aware that the avoiders possess the same entitlement, superficial criteria, and unrealistic expectations that plague the carousel riders. Avoiders never actually want to be riders for the following reasons: strong cultural and religious upbringings, as well as solid family values and a lack of social skills. Also, they have a low tolerance and give themselves an inaccurate market value. Even if one or more of these factors are present, the avoider's nature remains unchanged. Either find high-value males or nothing. She may have missed out on a lot of great options in her 20s, but she prefers to ignore them and, in some cases, sit out her prime. Some of these options may have ended up in her friend zone in case she finds out about her biological clock and decides that they have a lower value than she does, and didn't get that high-value, evasive man when she was in her 30s. I think we shouldn't underestimate the number of people in our society who avoid carousals. There may be more riders in some traditional societies than riders in others. I would like to give most of the credit for this information to a user named Jaggermeister on the website. Going your way, he said. In conclusion, the avoiders frequently point to her near credentials as an insomniac. However, the rider or not, her mind is also distorted. She would have taken the carousal despite her timidity and sometimes lower market value because her instincts are the same: to only pursue high-value males and to treat other males strictly as utilities. So, just a word of caution. Don't believe a woman who says she has a fresh start because she's too busy, or when she says she's looking for dates or relationships in her 20s usually. Until it became necessary to get married, she was actively avoiding men of decent actual value. What do you think? I'm fairly certain that you and many other NGTOW members have encountered avoiders of this kind in the past. Regarding women in their 20s, I think your observations are spot on, but it's worse than you think. I'm meeting women in their 30s who are still searching for the ideal partner. I know a woman in her late 30s who is traditional in her faith and has a wealthy father who lets her wait for the right man for as long as she wants. She has no interest in her biological clock. She's in her late 30s. It's the 9th inning, and she doesn't care about her situation. On her Facebook page, she boasts about her ability to still attract young men in their late 20s and early 30s. Additionally, she constantly promotes the notion that she is a good Christian and attends church. But if she were a good Christian woman, wouldn't she have found a good man by now? Because one of her distant cousins had a baby at 43, she thinks she can do the same, but the reality doesn't seem to be sinking in. As you refer to them, the carousal avoiders do everything in their power to construct this image around themselves. She asserts that the promiscuity of the other girls around her makes them bad. Additionally, her abstinence is supposed to somehow raise the value, making her somehow superior because she resembles an old rookie card stored in a hard-shell case. The fact that these women constantly broadcast their status is what bothers me about them. They want everyone to know that they can ride the carousel, but they are so disciplined that they won't. The female chameleon comes in yet another variety. They are attempting to imitate these men in the hope that one of them will notice her because they are aware that there are men who don't drink and instead focus on their careers. Typically, these men have a lot of money and resources. However, the issue with this strategy is that she must constantly communicate moral values to the world. Even though she is faking being a good, decent, and loyal woman, she still expects the man to behave in this manner. It's the same in many countries in the Middle East. While they wait for a man to arrive and rescue her, they rely on dad. She is supported by her brother, father, and uncle until she finds the man who is worthy of her. Listening to a woman trying to downplay the number of men she has been physically intimate with in the past makes me laugh a lot. Women who avoid their 20s are like mines that have been abandoned. Although they display no trespassing signs at the tunnel's entrance, the majority of these women simply maintain the appearance of avoiding carousals. Despite telling everyone that they aren't, how do you know that they aren't having dozens of men? Since I started this channel, one thing I've learned about women is that they are liars by nature. I want you to consider for a moment that even these prudent women, who stay away from boyfriends and wait for the ideal partner, are dating men. Have you ever considered that to be part of their breeding strategy, to make themselves appear as innocent and pure as possible, men attempt to exploit them because they believe they are naive? These women may enjoy acting ignorant or stupid, because they may be drawn to brutes. That could be yet another reason why they propagate the idea that they only want the right man. But just think of how many good guys this woman has already dated. If I were a woman who depreciated with each render view, I would ensure that no one knew about my carousel rides and that no one outside of my girlfriends knew I was as pure as possible. I would meet people when I went on vacation. I would meet those guys in bars about an hour or two away from the city. Numerous men appear to fall for the many ways that women present themselves as pure. I think it's a terrible idea to take a woman's word for how many times she has been. The majority of men have a choice between one really bad woman or no woman, while the majority of women I know are talking to 2 or 3 potential suitors simultaneously. That is the same as a man surviving a friendship with benefits arrangement without actually being in a relationship with the woman. And if they had that power, the majority of men probably would use it. The majority of women, on the other hand, would probably choose to remain in relationships with dozens of different men if they could. However, the majority of Western men leave a woman if she refuses to put out. Therefore, avoidance is truly a luxury that the majority of women in our society cannot afford.